You've been taught to earn buyer trust in the absolute wrong way. And if you are a female wellness coach, in this video, I'm going to share with you the 7 shifts to make in order to earn trust quick and be able to convert your audience into high ticket premium clients. I might know a thing or two about this, seeing as I have generated almost $2 million in sales from organic content alone. So if you've been feeling like all of the tips and tricks from the Instagram gurus and the sales gurus just aren't working for your business model, it's not because your business model doesn't work. It's because you haven't been taught to use your inherent feminine qualities to earn trust quickly with buyers. There was a turning point for me at the beginning of 2020 where I started noticing more and more people reaching out and saying, I don't know what shifted in you, but there's something about your energy and I just feel so called to work with you. Within a matter of weeks, my one-to-one high ticket coaching was sold out, and only 3 months later, I had my first $40,000 launch with the Academy of Breath. And the number one thing that I shifted was understanding what it means to be real without dropping into the best friend zone. The biggest mistake that I see is a lot of people will end up in the best friend zone where they fall into the category of being more of an influencer because they're showing every aspect of their life, from the coffee that they drink in the morning to the walk that they're on to their cute dog. And don't get me wrong, I will show my golden retriever every single day, but there's a difference between being real and still being an authority and being real by highlighting every aspect of your life. People buy from people, not the perfect archetypes that create actually even more of a gap and separation, where the people in your audience will start thinking to themselves, oh, well, it's easy for Ava to say because she's lived a perfect life. Even the most successful people will talk about their challenges, their struggles. They'll pull the curtain back and show you what they've had to overcome, because there's nothing more powerful than your audience thinking, if she can do it, I can do it too. That's the sweet spot where your realness actually creates authority and gives people the motivation and the emotional resonance to lean in, raise their hand, and say, yes, I want to learn more about working with you. In order to do this, I recommend doing an audit where you're looking at the things that you've navigated, the things that you've overcome, and asking yourself, what are the things that I've learned from this? What are the thought processes that I've really had to expand into because of this experience? And most importantly, how does this relate to my high ticket buyer? If you can't tie it back to your offer or your high ticket buyer and why they should give a damn, it's probably not worth sharing. Sharing itself is so valuable. But when you're sharing, what I want you to think about is, how can I tell a story that creates a level of emotional safety and trust for this specific person? These are going to be stories from your own life. It's going to be stories from clients that you've supported. The second shift in order to build trust fast is to make sure that you're using storytelling when you're in conversation with potential clients through your actual social media, your long form content, your podcast, because every story that you tell, when told correctly, will show people she's been in my shoes, or she has a client that has been in my shoes. So I feel more confident investing in her support because I know that she knows where I am and knows how to get me to where I want to be. In order to figure out what are the most profound stories that I can be telling, you need to take a step back and remember what it was like to be in the shoes of your high ticket buyer. What are the things that they're currently struggling with? What are the challenges that they have right now that they can't overcome? What are the desires that they have, or the fears that are potentially holding them back from leaning in and taking that next step forward? Once you're able to define what those specific challenges, goals, fears, or struggles are, think back to a time where you specifically overcame that and what that experience was moving from that current state to your desired reality. We don't just want to use our own story, because I think the most trust comes from when we're able to show, I haven't been able to just do this for myself, but I've done this for many other people. So think about clients that you've supported as well too, that can be powerful stories and representations of, hey, I know where you are. I know where you want to go, and here's an example of someone that I've helped do this for. If you can't tell, I'm very straightforward in how I communicate, which is the third shift that you need to make if you want to build trust quickly. A lot of people lean more into the cheerleader, you got this girl type of energy when they're talking to prospective clients. But the thing is, if people are going to invest high ticket, they want to know that you know without a doubt that you are the one to support them and you can help them achieve X result. Stop trying to be their friend because, as we already talked about, you don't want to fall into the best friend zone where someone looks at you as more of their bestie and their cheerleader rather than their coach and their mentor. High ticket buyers have a level of maturity. They don't need you to sit around and braid their hair. They want to know that if they're investing $1,000, $2,000, $5,000, $10,000, $100,000 with you, they want to know with confidence that you're going to be the person that helps them collapse time around their said result, definitively help them get their result, and give them a no bullshit path to being able to sustain whatever transformation that they create while they're working with you. My business skyrocketed when I stopped trying to be liked by everyone on sales calls and started positioning myself as an authority and being honest and calling out the areas or the gaps where I saw women struggling. They're gonna have 10 times more respect for you if you just tell it how it is rather than skirting around things for the sake of their feeling. They're not hiring you to stroke their ego, they're hiring you to get results. Have you ever been on social media, scrolling your feed, and had a moment where you stopped because the content literally screamed at you the thing that you haven't said out loud yet? This is the fourth shift that you need to make in your social media and your messaging if you want to build trust quickly. You need to name the thing that they haven't even named out loud themselves. Now, this might be the ruminating thought that they have every single night that's keeping them up at 3 a.m. It might be the thing that after a couple of margaritas with their best friend on a Saturday where their lips are loose, they start actually ranting about and being truthful. Most coaches are so generalized when they're showing up online and talking to their ideal client that they end up, as you've probably heard, talking to no one. So make a list of all of the unspoken truths that your high ticket client is likely struggling with or telling themselves, but they haven't necessarily admitted out loud. Look at how these problems are causing some effect on their personal life, their relationship, their health, their mental state. Look at how the wanting for their desires is creating this gap within their life that feels insatiable. If you can begin to name these things in your content, you are going to collapse the trust gap 1,000 times faster because your clients are going to be like, oh my God, is she in my head right now? How did she know that? And how was she able to name that better than I could even name myself? In order to do this really well, you need to get so micro in your content by speaking to your highest ticket buyer and your highest ticket buyer only. You don't want there to be any confusion when somebody lands on your page around who you support and how you support them. Confusion doesn't breed trust. It doesn't breed confidence. A confused mind does not buy. And the fastest way for somebody to lose confidence that you are the coach for them is to scroll your feed and see that you're talking to person A on post number 1 and person B on post number 2. Right now, I want you to go through your feed and one by one ask yourself, am I speaking to the same exact person on every single post that I'm making? If not, this is an opportunity to go from what I call generalized messaging, which is much more top of funnel. You're speaking to a lot of different people, you're casting a wide net, and you're probably not signing very many clients because of that, to legacy brand positioning, which is something that I work with my clients on, where we're essentially moving into the micro specific of the problems and desires that your high ticket buyer has so that every single post that you create is positioned as the no-brainer solution for your client's needs. Now, obviously, none of this works if you are not relentlessly consistent in your presence, in your values, and in your messaging online. This is the sixth shift that you need to make. And the mistake that I see a lot of women at the 5 to 10K month mark make is they're only consistent when they're in a launch, they have something to sell, or they are inspired. And listen, all of us have resistance. There is not a single person on this planet that isn't met with a creative block. But your creative block or your block to being consistent outside of your sales periods is actually what is preventing you from building a hot audience of trusting high ticket clients. Consistency can happen in a couple different ways. It doesn't necessarily only have to be posting every single day. In fact, I actually don't recommend posting every single day because I believe that quality is far more important than quantity as it relates to attracting high ticket buyers. Now, if you're trying to be an influencer and go viral, sure, post for quantity, but I imagine if you've made it this far in the video, you have a much different outcome and goal than people that are trying to go viral. Consistency can look like having paid ads running 24/7 so that you always have something in the back end even if you're just spending $5 to $10 a day, that is consistently getting you in front of your high ticket buyers. Consistency can also look like posting on your Instagram stories daily, sharing client wins, talking about the behind the scenes of what you're working on in your business. And if you are sharing your personal life, connect the dots between how your personal life and what you've created is a result of the work that you do with your clients. To make this really, really simple, what I recommend is having 3 pillars of your content or your brand that you're recycling in and out every single week so that you're not sitting down asking yourself, how do I be consistent this week? For example, my main pillars inside of my content strategy are authority identity, meaning really speaking to the identity of the mindset and energetics and embodiment of the CEO. Million dollar messaging, which is focused on that legacy brand positioning that we talked about and getting really micro specific, scaling with the nervous system in mind. So taking a more balanced and regulated approach to how you're building your business rather than the hustle and bro strategies. Finally, client experience and being able to create a back end and a brand that grows without you having to be on 24/7. So every single week when I sit down to create content for my Instagram, my email list, my courses, or my YouTube channel, I know that it's going to fall into one of those 4 categories, which makes showing up really simple and easy to execute consistently. Now, I wanted to give you one final bonus tip that you can use in your organic content, your ads, as well as in sales conversations. And this final strategy is mirroring. Mirroring is an NLP technique that is insanely valuable in sales, but just being a human being overall. There are 2 different ways that mirroring gets to work for you to build trust quickly. The first is for those of you that are earlier on in having conversations with high ticket buyers. Every single conversation that you have, what I want you to practice is mirroring what they reflect to you in the conversation. Let's say that you're talking to a potential client as a fitness coach and they come to you saying that they've got this big trip planned for spring break and they want to look and feel their best. Your response would be, in a traditional mirroring setting, that's amazing that you've got this trip planned for spring break, and I totally understand wanting to look and feel your best. Just curious, when you say you want to look and feel your best, what does that actually mean for you? And what are the goals that you associate with that? What I've done there is essentially regurgitated exactly what they said to me and then asked a deeper question to better understand what is underneath what they are telling me so that I have full awareness of what their real goals are besides just looking and feeling their best. So if they tell me they want to lose 5 to 10 pounds, when I then go to talk about my program and pitch them on working with me for the next 3 months, I'm going to use the specific language that they use to sell my offer. So it might look like this. During the time that we work together, the main priority of what we're going to focus on first is getting you over the next 90 days, so right before your spring break, to a place where you look and feel your best because you've dropped that extra 10 pounds of stubborn weight. What I just did there was take exactly what they told me and just simply reflect it back while I'm selling. What this style of mirroring and conversation is going to do is trigger the subconscious to associate you as someone who listens, who understands, and is also interested in the person. There's this saying that I love: interesting people are interested. If you meet someone out at a party and they are leaning in, so interested in what you're saying and asking those follow-up questions, you're probably going to be super drawn to them because, let's be real, we love talking about ourselves. And if someone's sitting across from us acting interested, we are going to be interested in them. Oftentimes in sales, we feel like we need to convince and just keep talking in order to earn the sale. The people that talk the least are usually the ones that build the most trust. Now, the second way that you are going to use mirroring in your business is by actually taking all of the conversations that you're having with clients and high ticket buyers and evaluating what are the common threads with the challenges, the struggles, the things that they haven't been able to overcome, the things that they're telling me they want and they desire, and using that in your content. And a little hack is, if you record your sales calls, you can literally take the transcripts, put them into ChatGPT, and ask ChatGPT to break down every single pain point, every single desire, all of the commonalities between all of the different transcripts to give you talking points for your social media, your content, and your ads. Those are just 7 of the ways that you can build trust quickly using social media and sales techniques to support you in scaling your high ticket coaching business. As always, if you enjoyed this video, leave a comment below, make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.